Hello everyone. So I am back. I have just been a little bit busy and I just got back from a quick getaway to Las Vegas. And what I thought I would do in my video today is a little guide to Las Vegas from a newbie to Vegas for other newbies. Especially since I am a little long in the tooth to be going to Vegas for the first time. And I think part of that is because I used to work in my past life, I like to say, in a casino. And so to me, going on vacation and going to a casino is kind of like going on a vacation and then going to work. So it has taken me a while to want to go down and see Vegas. However, an opportunity came to go with some friends and I decided why not go for it. So this is just going to be some things that I picked up along the way. So hopefully you find something that is worthwhile or useful. So before I get started on the Vegas advice, this is just my regular advice for traveling. So number one would be always have a book, because you are obviously going to be doing a lot of waiting, especially if you're flying. But I personally like to have a book that makes people think that you are a little odd, a little different, and or there might be something wrong with you. So the book that I chose is by Sarah Helm. Show you the cover there. And this is Ravensbrück, Life and Death in Hitler's Concentration Camp for Women. I am a psychology major, and if you've seen in my past videos, I do have some books on my shelf about Nazi Germany, the concentration camps, just because the things that man can do to man, let's just say I'm still trying to unlock that and have it make sense. I guess I just don't want to believe that we can just be that brutal for no reason, even though sometimes I think it is that simple. So anyway, you would probably be asking yourself, why on earth would you want to have a book that would make people think that you are strange and unusual? Well, what usually happens is someone looks over and says, "Oh, what are you reading?" Then you show them the handy dandy title, and then they usually make this face. And then they kind of scooch over, and then they do this for the rest of the flight. And then you don't have someone that you don't know telling you all kinds of things that you never wanted to hear about, like their third divorce, scabies that won't go away, the roach infestation in their house, all kinds of things that you didn't want to listen to on a flight. So that is just my life advice. People have questioned whether there is something wrong with me. There might be. There might be. So, excuse me, for Vegas, I went on Spirit Airlines, and Spirit Airlines is at first deceptively very cheap. Now, this is an airline that is as bare minimum as it comes. The seats are extremely cheap until you start realizing that everything costs money. So if you want to sit together, that costs money, $20 to get to pick your seat. If you are taking a bag with you that is bigger than 18 by 14, to check that size bag is $25, and 18 by 14 is the size of a small backpack. My luggage is not that small, so I chose to check my bag for $40 Now, you want to check your bag online before your flight, because if you have to actually check it at the airport, the cost is $65. One of the good things is I flew with someone who did take a backpack. We weren't sure if it was going to meet the height requirement. It doesn't seem like the Spirit Airlines staff is very rigorous in measuring. No one got out a ruler. They did have a thing that looked like a booster seat in a restaurant that you could check the size of your bag, and we were able to stuff hers in there and make it work. So, but she didn't get hassled about that, so that was nice. You also want to check in online before your flight, because if you have to check in person, that costs extra. So the flight itself is also very bare minimum. There was no first class. I've actually never flown first class anyway, but there's no Wi-Fi, no in-flight movie. They didn't have any barf bags or motion sickness bags, which was unfortunate. I think the flight crew was getting a little annoyed because my friend gets motion sickness very easy and kept having to get up, even though they hadn't turned the light off to clear you to walk around the cabin. But if you would like to avoid that problem, Spirit, maybe you could put some motion sickness bags in the seats for people to have. The little fold-out tray was actually about that big. My book was actually bigger, I believe, than the fold-out tray. And water was not free, so water was $3. The food was, if you wanted a food or a snack or a drink, was the same price as other airlines. And the flight attendants, communication with them was very difficult. And speaking of communication, I don't know what they are teaching their pilots. I could not understand anything on any flight that the pilots were saying. So it sounded like they were trying to eat the microphone, which I know that they're probably just telling you where you're flying over or when you're about to land, but you know, some of that information you would actually like to know, and instead it was just like, and I would hate to think if we had a real emergency and they actually needed to instruct us on how to do something. If that is all that you got to hear, yeah, I guess we would just all be dead. So they may want to, when they're doing their pilot training at Spirit, they may want to teach them to hold the microphone a few inches in front of them instead of trying to swallow it whole while they are talking. So would I fly with Spirit again? I think if you're going on a very short flight, it wasn't bad, but you really have to price it out. I found some other tickets later that, with the cost of your carry-on and everything else, would have been right around the same. So you can't say that they're not upfront. They are pretty upfront about the prices, but you just have to pay attention to the little add-ons. However, my final thoughts are -3 on a scale of 1 to 10, because I did, on my tray, it said that I won something, but every time I tried to ask about it, I was shushed by a flight attendant who would say that it would be explained later, and it never was. So, -3 on a scale of 1 to 10. So, once you get to Vegas, I was surprised that I didn't see a lot of taxis. In fact, I thought it was noteworthy how few taxis I actually saw. So apparently everything is now working on Uber or Lyft. So you want to have those apps downloaded on your phone before you go. And Some tips that are important. You want to be standing at the pickup point before you hit that you are ready to signal for a pickup. So the reason that you want to do this is it's just like anything else where there are unscrupulous people. Some of the Lyft or Uber drivers will say that they are somewhere waiting in a spot like A1, you know who you are, and they are actually not waiting there, and they have accepted another fare and they have taken off. Now you would ask yourself, why would they do that? Because they can actually charge you a cancellation fee. So then you have to go through a dispute process and go through the review process and try to fight for your money back and all of that stuff. So it's guaranteed. They get a guaranteed fee because they can claim that they were waiting for you and you never showed up. One of the other things you want to watch out for is they like to park in very strange spots, and I don't know if they get some sort of sick pleasure out of watching you try to find their vehicle. They do send you a picture of the vehicle and let you know who your driver is. But in a couple of the cases, they had parked somewhere and like inside a different parking garage, and then didn't say like, hey, I'm inside this parking garage, or I'm down this side street. So it would say your driver had arrived and you couldn't find the driver. So that brings me to my next point. Don't be afraid to use the app to either text your driver or call your driver, because half the time that's the only way you're going to be able to find your driver. And get used to saying things like, can you blink your lights, or flash your lights, or yell out the window, or can you wave, or are you sure you're on Center Drive? Because like I said, they're hidden somewhere else and you don't know where they're at, and they can say that you weren't in the pickup spot and they can take a fee for canceling on you and picking up somebody else. So they're making money on quantity. So they want to get people moving in and out of their cars as fast as they can down there. So again, don't be afraid to text them through the app. Don't be afraid to call them through the app and ask them where they are at. The other thing that I thought was helpful, and it made me uncomfortable at first, but after a day or two, is just walking up to someone who the picture, it looked like their car, and just saying, are you picking up Liberace? Or are you picking up, for John, whoever had paid for the Uber? Actually, they appreciate that. It's helpful because that way, when you're standing and you have several people standing and doing this, it's hard to figure out who is needing to be picked up. And then they might accidentally think that they're picking up you, and then they're waiting for you, and it's actually 3 people down there getting the ride, and vice versa. So don't be afraid to just walk up and say, are you here for so-and-so? Oh, you're not. Okay, thank you. And just kind of keep moving down the line. It helps the process move along. I felt like that made things smoother for a lot of people. And I felt like a lot of the drivers appreciated it. Also, if you get the wrong destination in the app, just ask the driver to help you fix it. I handed the driver my phone and said, oops, I have the wrong restaurant in here. Can you fix this for me? Very gracious, very nice about the whole thing, and just said, oh, here you go, let's get this corrected. Even said, this is going to cost a little bit more. No problem. I want them to get paid for their time. And I appreciated that he was so willing to fix things up for me. So that was great. So once you reach your hotel, doesn't matter when you come in, you are going to wait in a long line. Long line. Fortunately, they do move the lines pretty quickly and keep watch. They hold up sticks or boards that say next in line or I'm open. But yes, I had a photo of the line, which I will pop up here. The lines are long, a lot of people coming and going to Las Vegas, obviously, so you're going to see that. Just, it's going to be okay. They're going to move very quickly. They're going to get you registered. Just don't be surprised when you get to your hotel. So speaking of hotels, I wanted to stay at the Luxor Hotel because it is a pyramid, and I got caught up in looking at pictures of the pyramid rooms, which are slanted because the whole hotel is in the shape of the pyramid, and these are what the room's like. And I just, for some reason, I just thought that was cool, really wanted to stay in the pyramid room. So I was less than pleased when I finally get to the check-in counter and I find out that I had been upgraded, and I didn't want the upgrade, and I tried to argue against the upgrade. I don't know if it was the prime suites, and they were so excited about this upgrade that I didn't want. I asked them if they could give the upgrade to somebody else. My friend argued against the upgrade as well. We said that we had done, the whole reason we were staying there was because of the pyramid rooms, begged, pleaded, demanded, nothing worked. We were upgraded against our will. And you know, I don't know that the pyramid room bed would have been any better, but these beds in this premium upgrade room were horrible. Part of me is wondering if they just drive around Vegas looking for mattresses people have chucked out, and then the Luxor staff is like, yes, snag that one. All right, we got another mattress for the hotel. These mattresses were the most uncomfortable mattresses I have ever slept on in my life. I don't think I slept more than 2 hours a night, either bed. Neither was comfortable. And I thought, okay, all right, I'll just watch TV and see if that'll work. Sometimes the background noise make me fall asleep. The only thing I could get on the TV was Pretty in Pink. Okay, you know, love me some old school teen angst movies. And it kept going in and out. The TV was malfunctioning, and it was malfunctioning the whole time that I worked there. And I'm thinking this is probably just a Vegas thing. It didn't help that people were just running through the halls screaming like banshees, slamming doors, just with the whole experience of the beds being so uncomfortable, not being able to have a steady stream of background noise to kind of try to relax, and then on top of it, just people running around at all hours of the night. It just wasn't a good experience, and I'm gonna be honest, I won't ever stay at the Luxor again. Like I said, I stayed there originally, or booked the room originally, because I wanted to stay in the pyramid room. I wanted to stay in the slanted room. That was the whole reason. And then when I was upgraded and I didn't want to be, and then the rooms were not that amazing. I mean, I did like the little cute green chairs. I like green. That's one of my favorite colors, but no. For what I paid and everything else, just wasn't. I mean, two bits would have been paying more than the room was worth. So I would just say book somewhere else. The other thing is they had a pool, and it was really beautiful and amazing and gorgeous. And I did go out to the pool one day. Here's a picture of the pool, and I went out one morning, and this could just possibly be me, and I'm just from traveling to other places. The pool didn't open until 9 a.m. Why? It's the middle, well, leaning towards the end of summer, but it's 106 degrees there, varying from 101 to 109, and the pool doesn't open until 9 a.m. I get up usually at 5 a.m. So at 9 a.m. I've already eaten breakfast. I'm already gone for the day. I like to start, if I'm somewhere where it's warm and there's a pool, I like to be out at the pool by 7 a.m. just kind of relaxing while it's very cool still in the morning. I mean, hot enough to be outside in a swimsuit, but very cool in the morning. So that was another thing. And then it closed really early at night, so you couldn't even come back and wind down by the pool. I'm thinking it's for safety reasons and probably drunk people. They don't want drunk people falling in the pool and drowning. However, when you pay for the hotel experience and it comes with a pool, to just not really feel like you got to be able to use the pool. I'm just saying, Luxor. I just wasn't impressed. So that brings me to starting your day. So in the morning, when you are ready to get up and start your day, don't worry, there are Starbucks literally everywhere. Everywhere, Starbucks. And don't worry, the employees are just like the ones at your local Starbucks. They pretend to listen to your order, get it wrong, and then ask you to pay for a whole new drink when they mess yours up. No, I'm just joking. At my Starbucks, they don't ask me to pay to fix my drink. They just glare at me the whole time. But seriously, I don't know if this is the Las Vegas twist on Starbucks or not, but I have never experienced when somebody takes your order and then they call your name and then you go to pick up your coffee and it's wildly not the right coffee. I'm talking single tall latte and then you're handed a blended caramel macchiato. So, and then when you say, well, this is not what I ordered, then this big ordeal about getting the manager starts. And then the manager comes over and then they walk away from the counter and then the employee and the manager whisper together while looking at you, and then they whisper and then they look at you and then they whisper. And then the manager comes over and tells you that the employee didn't understand what you were saying, while implying that you need to pay for the correct drink. Not a new drink, I mean the correct drink. So you either need to take the drink that they're offering or you got to pay for the right one. So in this instance, you just need to maintain eye contact. Don't blink. The first person who blinks loses. Eventually, they will make you your single tall latte. However, I'm going to warn you, it will be iced even though you asked for it hot. Like 3 times you said, I want it hot, because all the casinos are air conditioned and it's 5 a.m. and you're kind of cold and you want it hot. Just accept that you got your single tall latte finally. You didn't have to pay for the drink to be corrected. Just take it in silent victory and just go. Just go, walk away, enjoy your drink. And that will just happen to you over and over and over again. So I'm just warning you, I would try to keep it really simple. I finally just switched over to drip coffee with room for cream. Just keep it simple. So one of the things you are definitely going to need is a good sunscreen. Obviously, especially if you're really pale like me. I used 2 different types of sunscreen. So I just used a regular spray-on sunscreen for my body that I got at CVS, but I used what is called, the name just gets me. It is called Kula. And it is an organic sunscreen that is specifically for the face. This stuff is amazing. I was very impressed with it. It was recommended to me by a friend. I don't even think you can tell I got any sun. I got a little bit more freckles, but I put it on the back of my neck as well. Definitely would check it out if you're going to be somewhere out in the open, especially where the sun is just bouncing off the pavement right back at you. no trees, not a lot of shading. Definitely recommend this product. Did not make me break out, did not burn, did not sting. Just hands down one of the best sunscreens I've ever used. And again, I just used regular sunscreen for if you're going in and out of the pool on the rest of my body. And then I wore a lot of very light linen shirts that were long sleeved, just not heavy material, almost kind of see-through, but just so that I was covered up because I do burn very easily. But that sunscreen is amazing, and I'm telling you, you need to check it out. The other thing that you need if you're going to be in Vegas, because it is a dry, very, very dry heat, is lotion. Lots and lots of lotion. So they do give you lotion in the hotel. I'm not sure what this chemical substance was. I'm just gonna say that I have seen Elmer's glue that absorbed better into the skin and was less sticky than the lotion the Luxor provided. So I am so glad that I had brought my own, because the last thing you want to be doing is to just have your skin be all dried out, flaky, itchy, and just have that heat just drying it out more and more each day. It's just not uncomfortable. It's just very uncomfortable, or will be very uncomfortable when you get back to the hotel room every night. So be sure to, well, drinking your water every day. And if you don't want to pay for water every day, just get one large bottle of water and keep refilling it. I went back and forth. I would buy a bottle of water here and there and then refill sometimes as well. And make sure that you have a really moisturizing body lotion so that your skin stays hydrated. One of the other important things I learned is that you won't be able to see everything. So you want, especially if you're going to only be there for a couple days, so you want to pick out some casinos and some things that you really want to do and take a look at. I would really recommend Caesar's Palace. It is hard to describe. I took some photos. They have done the inside like your outside. It's absolutely gorgeous. The Bellagio, what they do with flowers is absolutely amazing. The Flamingo is worth it, I think, just for actually being able to see the flamingos and the gift shop, and the New York, for actually having the setup inside look like streets of New York or possibly Brooklyn. The gaming floors, to me, they all look the same after a while. All the layout is the same, all the games are the same, so I was less interested in that. I'm not a super huge gambler, so I was more interested in poking around in the gift shops and seeing what was available, and like I said, looking at the other things the casino had to offer and the different ways that they were decorated and constructed and what was different about each of them. Food. Oh my goodness, the food that they had there. So I want to say that I was able to hold out and remain on keto for about 36 hours before I caved in. I mean, you're on vacation, right? Relax a little. Don't fall for the hype of famous restaurants. We did try Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. It was a disappointment just from start to finish. I've had better fish and chips literally everywhere I have ever eaten, ever. That includes Denny's. So I was thinking, okay, well, you know, that's okay. I'm sure the key lime pie is amazing, fabulous, out of this world. I'm pretty sure they made the key lime pie with lime pudding. Just, they claimed it was made from scratch. by hand every day. And you know, you can scoop out little pudding cups into a pie crust by hand every day. So that could be true. That could be true. So what worked better, I think, is just walking around and sharing food as a group. So we were able to try more things that way and get a better sampling of what the different places had to offer. So had some amazing pizza, New York style pizza at the New York. Some pistachio gelato that was out of this world at Caesar's Palace. And then in the Venetian, there was a Parisian bakery where we had a croissant Danish to die for. Absolutely to die for. However, if you are on keto and allow yourself to go off for vacation, stop trying to convince yourself that things like Cinnabon are a new and amazing food that you need to try, okay? One, it ain't new. You have eaten Cinnabon before, okay? And two, you are supposed to share the food. You are not supposed to go lock yourself into the bathroom and wolf it down like you are a starving dog. And three, you do not need 2 cinnamon rolls. No, nobody needs 2 cinnamon rolls. That is how you make yourself sick. That is how you get sick. And that is why your family keeps talking about having an intervention. Because ever since you got back from Las Vegas, you have been searching through the whole house like a crack addict looking for more sugar, okay? So don't use the vacation in Vegas as an excuse to eat stuff that you've already tried before. And you know, that might be just me. That might have been just me, but I think that's good life advice. So, you know, we can all benefit from good life advice. So I also recommend doing things like seeing shows. You're probably not going to get to do everything, but one of the shows that I recommend is Legends. And this is an impersonation show. And I think one of the things that's so fun about Legends is not only do the people look like the singers that they are impersonating, they sound like them. And it's really hard to describe, but they are so talented and so amazing, and it is so much fun, even if you don't even particularly care for that singer, to just watch the mannerisms, to watch the movements, to hear them. Out of this world. I recommend it. I think it's a great time, and I think it's worth seeing. And sometimes you can actually catch Legends at local casinos in your state, and if you have an opportunity to do so, I would encourage you. It's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. The other thing is, don't be afraid to leave the Strip. They have the gold and silver pawn shop that is on television. A lot of people like to go out there and see that. And while they're not always filming, I like to go take a look in pawn shops. You never know. Sometimes there's some jewelry that you might want to have, or I collect coins. I don't have an extensive collection, but I like to look and see what places have, and sometimes see if there's something that I want to pick up and add to my collection. So if you like pawn shops, I think that that is something fun to do. And the other thing is Zach Baggins has a haunted museum, and I don't want to go into too much detail about the experience, mostly because I signed a double-sided waiver and I'm not sure what I can legally talk about without getting sued. But I don't want to give away too much of it because it was actually a lot of fun. And the house, it's a house, is a lot bigger than you think. And I think we were in there over 2 hours from start to finish. And the tour guides were a lot of fun. And Zach has collected a lot of haunted objects, but a lot of just interesting objects in general. Not all of them are haunted, but all of them are historical, if that makes sense. So that was very interesting. I had a really good time in there. Some of it was really spooky. There are clown dolls, so you do have to think about that. That is on the website. Please don't sue me. The one thing that I will tell you is if you are really sensitive to smells, you may have to consider if you can go in or not. I'm not just talking like your regular sensitivity to like someone who uses too many sprays of cologne or perfume. I think that they said, one of the tour guides said that they go in there and they do a cleansing ritual every morning because they have some objects that are allegedly possessed by demons or things like that. The smell, the different smells individually are overpowering, but in the rooms where they mingle, there were a couple times I actually almost got sick just from the smell. And smells don't normally make me ill. So that is something that you might want to think about. But overall, that was a lot of fun. We were, like I said, it was a long tour. We were there about 2.5 hours, and it was very interesting. And again, not everything is a haunted object, but it was a lot of history. And it's obvious that the guides love working there and have a good time with it, and just bring that enthusiasm with them to their jobs. So that was a lot of fun. You also want to take advantage of walking around at night and just looking at some of the free things that happen. So in front of the Bellagio, and then also in front of the Mirage casinos, there are different shows. And I believe they go off on the half hour. And one is a fire volcano show. And that was very awesome to watch, and had fire and what looked like some fireworks and water and drums and things like that. And that went on for about 15 to 20 minutes. So that was fun to watch. And the Bellagio did a water show with different lights and music. And that was also amazing to watch. And both of those things were free. All you had to do was just be walking along and witness it. And again, I think that those were on the half hour. I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial or raise people's hackles a little bit, but children. I did not see any children in Vegas that were having a good time, and I'm just not sure children belong in Vegas. And in fact, I didn't take photos of anyone's crying children, but had I, they would all look something like this. And in one particularly sad case, there's areas that kids can walk through in the hotels. They either have to stay on the carpeted area or the tile. I can't remember, but it's marked where they can walk through to go to their rooms and things like that. But this mother was playing on one of the machines and then asking her child which button she should push. And her son was not having any fun. And I think once she looked up and just saw the horror on my face, she decided that wasn't a good idea, and either took him hopefully to the pool, back to the room, to any of the virtual reality experiences they have in the hotels for kids. It's super hot there. There's a lot of stimulation. There's a lot of people milling about, and I just think they have one or two arcades here and there and everywhere you go, but I just don't think there's enough for kids to do. And it's a lot of walking, a lot of heat, a lot of noise, and it's not a good time for them. And I just really think Vegas is one of those places where leave the kids with grandma and grandpa if you can, aunt and uncle, a good friend, and just go without them. Saw a lot of crying kids, saw a lot of overwhelmed kids, saw a lot of sunburned kids, a lot of screaming children, and I just don't think it's a place for them to be at. Which takes me to the card slappers and or the porn slappers. And these are the people who come out at night and they slap these cards together that have pictures of the escorts on them. And this makes me sad for two reasons. Human trafficking is a huge problem in this country, and no one in my group took any of the cards, and we just ignored that because, one, we weren't looking to hire escorts, but two, you don't know that those women and girls are of age and aren't being trafficked. And then two, a lot of the slappers are illegal immigrants and they are trying to make a living too, and oftentimes they aren't even paid, or they're only paid part of their wages, and the whole thing just reeks of human misery. And again, I don't know why. That's hard enough for me to deal with on an adult level, and I just don't know why you would want children around that. That is just not a concept that you can explain, and I don't know why you would want to expose them to that. And of course, there's just the naked people running around, or people like this in a diaper. Why? Because it feels good, I guess. And there's the gals that dress up like showgirls, who actually, a lot of them were very beautiful, and they do that to take pictures with people and get tip money. And that's how they make their living. I don't know if they work during the day and do that at night, but hey, it looks kind of like a good gig. I don't know what I think $20 is what they ask for a tip for a picture with them. But I don't want to end on a negative note. So I will say, lastly, if you have been running around Vegas and you're tired and you're exhausted and you just need a little bit of refreshment, all of the hotels have a spa. And while the spa services are not free, they do offer massage, scrubs, saunas, jacuzzis. And if you have been hitting the pavement really hard, I believe one day we walked 12 or 14 miles and I needed a little bit of refreshment, I recommend you book an appointment and get a massage. I got a little rejuvenating foot scrub that was out of this world, and I absolutely adored the little spa sandals. I'm not gonna lie, I was looking for a way to try to sneak out with them. They were so comfortable, but they weren't exactly my size, so I didn't think I'd be able to run very far with them on. So anyway, that was my trip to Vegas. Overall, I had a great time. I'm not a huge gambler, like I said, but I think you can find enough things to do, even if you don't gamble, to have a good time, especially if you're going with loved ones and friends. The only thing I am really, all joking aside, the only thing I really am disappointed about is I was not able to find on Fremont Street any of the casinos that still had the nickel and quarter machines. One casino had a quarter machine, but you put quarters in and then watch these little horses go around the track. I was looking for the ones where you actually put the quarters in or the nickels in, and you got to carry around your little bucket of nickels. And I kept looking up casinos on my phone, and every place I stopped that said that they had those in there, I was told, unfortunately, they had taken their machines out either 6 months to a year prior. I don't really think there's anything super special about putting a card in and hitting a button, but that's just me. So anyway, I am now back from my vacation and will be doing my regular product reviews, book reviews, other types of reviews. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And as always, thank you for letting me ramble. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.